Every day, before you step into the challenges of life, you need words that ground you, guide you, and remind you of who you are. These affirmations aren't empty slogans. They're anchors for your mind. They help you replace self-doubt with strength, chaos with clarity, and fear with purpose. I am enough. This is more than just a phrase. It's a reminder that you don't need to constantly prove yourself to the world. Many of us wake up with an invisible checklist in our minds. Be productive, achieve more, do better, compare ourselves to others. But when you start the day by telling yourself you are enough, you cut through that noise. It's a declaration that who you are right now has value and that your worth is not tied to accomplishments or external validation. Think about how often you measure your life against someone else's highlight reel. Social media, career comparisons, even family expectations, these can all create the illusion that you're falling behind. But when you affirm, I am enough, you're taking back control of your narrative. You're telling yourself that you don't need to match someone else's path to be worthy. Your journey is uniquely yours, and that is more than sufficient. Believing you are enough doesn't mean you stop growing. It doesn't mean you settle. It means you approach growth from a place of self-acceptance rather than self-rejection. If you don't feel like you are enough, everything you do becomes an attempt to fill a void, working harder, pleasing more people, chasing validation. But when you believe you are enough, the work you do becomes an expression of who you already are, not a desperate attempt to prove your value. This mindset also protects you from perfectionism. Perfectionism convinces you that nothing you do will ever be good enough until it's flawless. That way of thinking is exhausting and paralyzing. I am enough breaks that cycle. It tells you that progress is valuable even if it isn't perfect. It allows you to release yourself from impossible standards and embrace the reality that growth is messy, but it's still worthy. There are days when you'll feel like you've failed, days when the plan doesn't work out, when mistakes happen, or when you simply don't meet your own expectations. Those are the moments when this affirmation is most needed. I am enough reminds you that your value is not erased by failure. It's not diminished by a bad day. It's constant, regardless of circumstances. Another layer to this truth is in relationships. When you don't believe you are enough, you might find yourself over-giving, over-explaining, or overextending just to be accepted. You might tolerate treatment that doesn't honor your worth because you feel you have to earn love. But when you stand in the belief that you are enough, you stop negotiating your value. You recognize that respect, kindness, and love are not things you have to beg for. They are the baseline you deserve. Self-talk matters deeply. The words you repeat to yourself shape how you see yourself. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, your brain starts to treat that as truth. It colors the way you interact with the world, keeping you small and uncertain. But replacing that with I am enough creates a new pattern. Over time, it builds resilience, confidence, and a quiet inner strength that doesn't need outside approval to feel steady. You may have grown up in environments where your worth was tied to performance, grades, achievements, responsibilities, or appearances. That conditioning is powerful and often lingers into adulthood. But affirming, I am enough, is a way to reparent yourself. It's how you remind your inner child that love, respect, and belonging are not earned through performance. They are your right as a human being. On practical terms, starting your day with this affirmation changes how you move through tasks. Instead of rushing to check off boxes to feel worthy, you approach your day with presence. You begin to see that your value isn't at the finish line of productivity. It's with you at every step. That shift allows you to enjoy the process rather than chasing an endless sense of not yet. Ultimately, telling yourself, I am enough, is an act of self-liberation. It frees you from living like you're on trial every day, waiting for the world to hand down a verdict on your worth. It brings you back to yourself. And when you stand firmly in that truth, you give yourself the permission to live with confidence, to love without fear, and to grow without shame. I can handle what comes my way. This is a statement of strength, but it's not about pretending to be invincible. It's about acknowledging that challenges are inevitable and trusting yourself to rise to meet them. Life has a way of surprising us with difficulties we didn't plan for, disappointments, losses, unexpected changes. In those moments, fear often whispers that we're not ready, that we don't have what it takes. But when you remind yourself daily that you can handle what comes, you create a steady foundation of courage that allows you to keep moving forward instead of freezing in uncertainty. Many people underestimate their own resilience. They look back on difficult seasons of their life and see only the scars, forgetting that they also survived them. The fact that you're still here, listening, learning, breathing, means that you've already faced challenges that once felt unbearable. Telling yourself, I can handle what comes my way, is about remembering your track record of strength. You've been tested before, and each time you found a way to keep going, even when you didn't think you could. That history proves your capacity. When you believe you can handle challenges, you begin to approach problems with a different mindset. Instead of spiraling into panic at the first sign of difficulty, you shift into problem-solving mode. You remind yourself that while you may not know every answer immediately, you have the ability to figure things out step by step. This reduces the sense of helplessness that often makes problems feel larger than they really are. Confidence in your ability to handle things shrinks the size of the fear that tries to overwhelm you. It's important to recognize that handling something doesn't always mean doing it perfectly. It doesn't mean you'll never feel stressed, never cry, never have moments of doubt. Handling it means you endure, you take the next step, you keep showing up. Too often, people confuse strength with never bending, but true strength is about flexibility. It's the ability to bend without breaking, to feel emotions without being destroyed by them, to adapt when plans fall apart. I can handle what comes my way is a reminder that you don't need perfection to survive, you just need persistence. This affirmation also prepares you for the unknown. So much of life's stress comes not from what's happening now, but from what you imagine might happen. Worry about the future can paralyze you. By reminding yourself that you can handle what comes, you teach your mind to release the obsession with trying to predict or control every outcome. Instead, you anchor yourself in the truth that no matter what arrives, expected or unexpected, you will meet it when it comes, and you will be capable in that moment. There's a psychological benefit to this mindset as well. When you face challenges believing you're helpless, your stress response spikes and your body prepares for danger in unhelpful ways. But when you believe you're capable of handling the challenge, your brain calms and you access clearer thinking and stronger decision-making. In other words, the belief itself improves your performance. By choosing the affirmation, I can handle what comes my way, you're not just comforting yourself, you're equipping your mind to perform better under pressure. Sometimes, handling life means asking for help. It's easy to think strength means doing everything alone, but that belief isolates you and makes burdens heavier. True resilience includes recognizing when to lean on others, when to seek advice, when to accept support. I can handle what comes my way includes the wisdom of knowing that handling it doesn't mean handling it in isolation. It means using every resource available to you, including the people who care about you and the knowledge you can access. This truth also builds long-term resilience. Every time you face a challenge and handle it, even if imperfectly, you reinforce the belief that you can do it again. Each success, no matter how small, becomes another piece of evidence that you are strong enough. Over time, this creates a self-perpetuating cycle. The more you handle, the more confident you become. And the more confident you become, the better you handle the next challenge. Think about the difference between a person who says, I can't handle this, and a person who says, I can handle this. The same challenge might arrive for both, but their experiences will be entirely different. One will be paralyzed by fear, the other mobilized by determination. The external problem is the same, but the inner dialogue shapes the outcome. That is the power of this affirmation. It reframes challenges as opportunities to prove to yourself again and again that you are capable. At its core, this reminder protects you from living in constant fear of what might happen. Instead of waiting for life to overwhelm you, you declare your ability to face it head on. It doesn't mean life will be easy, but it does mean you won't shrink from it. You'll carry yourself with the quiet assurance that no matter what storms arise, you have the tools, the resilience, and the willpower to endure. My past does not define me. These words carry a weight of freedom that many people overlook. Too often, We live as though our history has chained us to a particular identity, unable to grow beyond the mistakes we've made or the pain we've experienced. But when you remind yourself daily that your past is not your final definition, you open the door to growth. You give yourself permission to change, to evolve, and to write new chapters that aren't dictated by what came before. It's natural to look back and replay regrets. Maybe it's a choice you made that hurt someone, an opportunity you didn't take, or a path that seemed right at the time but left you lost. Those memories can feel heavy, like they've permanently stained who you are. But what you need to remember is that your past is a teacher, not a prison guard. It carries lessons that can shape your wisdom, but it does not lock you into a fixed identity. You are not the same person you were yesterday, and you are certainly not the sum total of every mistake. For many people, past pain is not just about mistakes, but about what was done to them. Traumas, betrayals, or neglect can leave scars that feel like permanent marks on the soul. But those experiences, as real and painful as they are, do not define the essence of who you are. They may shape how you see the world or how you've learned to protect yourself, but they do not take away your capacity to heal, to love, or to rebuild your life. The scars tell a story of survival, not of limitation. Carrying the weight of the past often shows up in self-talk. You might find yourself saying things like, "I always mess things up," "I'm not the kind of person who succeeds," or "people will never see me differently." These statements are not truths. They are echoes of old experiences. When you replace them with, "My past does not define me," you actively rewrite the script. You begin teaching your mind that your identity is fluid, that change is possible, and that every new day is a chance to prove yourself differently. The danger of letting your past define you is that it shrinks your vision of the future. If you convince yourself that your history determines your destiny, you stop taking chances. You avoid opportunities out of fear that you'll repeat old patterns. But the truth is, the past only repeats itself if you refuse to learn from it. When you say, "My past does not define me," you shift from being a prisoner of your mistakes to being a student of them. You extract the lesson, apply it, and allow yourself to grow stronger. Think about people who have reinvented themselves after failure. Stories of individuals who lost everything but rebuilt, who made devastating choices but turned them into platforms to help others, who experienced brokenness but later discovered resilience. These stories remind us that reinvention is always possible. You are never fixed in one version of yourself. The past may explain where you started, but it does not dictate where you finish. There's also a psychological principle here: identity is malleable. Neuroscience shows us that the brain is capable of change through neuroplasticity. That means your thoughts, habits, and behaviors are not set in stone. You can unlearn patterns and replace them with healthier ones. This scientific reality reinforces the truth that your past is not your permanent definition. It's a reference point, but it doesn't limit the potential of who you can become. Letting go of the past doesn't mean denying it or pretending it didn't happen. It means integrating it into your life story in a way that fuels growth rather than shame. The choices you made, the people who hurt you, the experiences you've had, they all become chapters in your story, but they are not the final chapter. You get to decide what comes next. Each new decision you make is evidence that you are no longer bound by the old ones. There will be people who try to hold you to your past identity. Some may only remember you for your mistakes, and others may want you to stay small because it's easier for them. But their perception of you is not the definition of you. Reminding yourself daily that your past does not define you is also an act of reclaiming your power from the opinions of others. You are not who they say you are. You are who you choose to become. At its core, this affirmation is a declaration of freedom. It breaks the link between shame and identity. It reminds you that you are not condemned to be the same person forever. You can grow, you can change, and you can build a life that reflects who you truly are now, not who you once were. I choose peace over chaos. This is a decision that you make every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. Chaos doesn't always show up as loud arguments or dramatic events. Often it creeps in through distractions, negativity, or the endless pull of obligations that drain you. When you affirm that you choose peace, you're declaring that your inner world matters more than the turbulence around you. You're giving yourself permission to protect your energy instead of letting the noise of life dictate your state of mind. Choosing peace means understanding that not every battle is worth fighting. There will always be opportunities to react. When someone criticizes you unfairly, when things don't go as planned, when someone else's chaos tries to pull you in. But peace comes from the ability to pause and ask, does this deserve my energy? Chaos thrives on reaction, but peace thrives on restraint. When you practice choosing peace, you start to see how often chaos is optional, how often it depends on whether or not you allow yourself to be pulled into it. Peace doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending challenges don't exist. It means approaching them with clarity rather than panic. When chaos takes over, your mind races, your emotions flare, and your ability to think clearly diminishes. But peace keeps you grounded, allowing you to step back, evaluate the situation, and respond with wisdom instead of impulse. This makes your decisions more effective and your path forward more stable. It's not about avoiding responsibility, but about handling it with steadiness. One of the hardest lessons is realizing that chaos is not just external, it's often internal. Negative self-talk, unresolved guilt, or endless worrying can create storms inside of you that are louder than anything happening outside. Choosing peace means addressing that inner dialogue and calming it with compassion. It means reminding yourself that you don't have to rehearse every mistake or catastrophize every future possibility. Peace comes when you silence the inner critic and replace it with a voice that is calm, kind, and reassuring. In relationships, choosing peace is especially powerful. It's easy to get caught up in proving your point, winning arguments, or matching someone else's anger. But peace asks you to prioritize connection over conflict, understanding over defensiveness. It doesn't mean allowing yourself to be disrespected. It means knowing when to walk away, when to listen, and when to respond in a way that doesn't escalate tension. Relationships flourish when peace is chosen over ego, and you preserve your emotional well-being when you don't let every disagreement turn into a war. Choosing peace is also an act of self-care. Chaos is draining. It leaves you exhausted, anxious, and unable to focus on what truly matters. When you deliberately choose peace, you conserve your energy for the things that bring you fulfillment. That might mean setting boundaries, saying no to unnecessary commitments, or carving out time to rest without guilt. It's not laziness. It's a recognition that peace fuels productivity and creativity in ways that constant business never can. This mindset reshapes the way you interpret challenges. For example, when plans fall apart, chaos tempts you to panic, complain, or spiral into frustration. But peace allows you to accept what happened, adapt, and move forward without unnecessary emotional turmoil. The situation may not be what you wanted, but your peace reminds you that you still have control over how you respond. That shift in perspective not only protects your mental health, but also makes you more resilient when things don't go your way. Peace also brings clarity in decision-making. When you're caught in chaos, you're more likely to make choices out of fear, anger, or impulse. But peace gives you the space to think long-term, to weigh options carefully, and to act in alignment with your values. This doesn't just affect the moment. It shapes the trajectory of your life. Every choice made in peace creates more stability, while choices made in chaos often lead to regret. Reminding yourself, I choose peace over chaos, is not about achieving a perfect, calm life where nothing ever goes wrong. That's impossible. It's about creating a mindset that allows you to carry peace with you even when the world is noisy. It's about making daily decisions that protect your well-being, refusing to let external storms dictate your inner atmosphere. The world may be unpredictable, but your choice to center yourself in peace gives you control over how you experience it. And while chaos often feels urgent, peace teaches you patience. Chaos screams for immediate reaction, demanding you to rush and worry. But peace whispers that most things can wait. That delay, the pause before reacting, the breath before speaking, becomes the place where wisdom lives. In that pause, you reclaim your power. You remember that your life doesn't have to be ruled by urgency and tension. It can be shaped by calm, steady, intentional choices. I control my focus. These words hold more influence over your life than you may realize, because where your attention goes, your energy follows. Every day, Countless things compete for your focus: notifications on your phone, unfinished tasks, other people's demands, and even your own distracting thoughts. Without awareness, your focus gets scattered across so many directions that you feel drained yet unaccomplished. By reminding yourself that you control your focus, you reclaim the power to direct your mind toward what truly matters instead of letting the world decide for you. Focus is a form of currency. Just as money spent cannot be recovered, time and energy spent on distractions cannot be regained. When you say, "I control my focus," you are declaring that you won't allow your most valuable resource to be stolen by things that don't serve you. This doesn't mean ignoring everything else, but it does mean filtering, choosing what deserves your attention and what doesn't. It's about consciously investing your mental energy into areas that bring growth, fulfillment, or peace instead of scattering it on things that leave you empty. It's easy to underestimate the effect of focus on mood and motivation. When your mind constantly latches onto problems, fears, or negativity, your emotional state mirrors that. The more you focus on what's wrong, the heavier life feels. But when you redirect your attention toward solutions, gratitude, and opportunities, your energy shifts. You begin to see possibilities instead of only obstacles. This doesn't erase difficulties, but it changes how you experience them. Controlling your focus allows you to shape your outlook in ways that influence every decision you make. Often we give our focus away unconsciously. You might notice yourself replaying the same hurtful comment someone made or worrying about scenarios that haven't even happened. These thought patterns feel automatic. But the moment you remind yourself that you control your focus, you interrupt the spiral. You remind your brain that you can choose to redirect your attention towards something constructive. It's a mental habit, one that takes practice. But each redirection is proof that you are not powerless over your thoughts. There's also a connection between focus and productivity. People often wonder why they feel so busy but so unaccomplished. The reason is that business is about scattered activity, while productivity is about focused effort. When you intentionally control your focus, you stop multitasking ineffectively and start pouring yourself fully into one thing at a time. That deep concentration doesn't just help you accomplish more. It brings a sense of fulfillment because you know you gave your best attention to what truly mattered. Controlling your focus also means protecting it from distractions disguised as urgency. Emails, notifications, and constant demands from others can hijack your day if you let them. But choosing to control your focus means setting boundaries, turning off what isn't urgent, carving out quiet time, and deciding that not everything deserves an immediate reaction. This kind of discipline may feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, it gives you freedom, the freedom to dedicate your energy where it actually creates impact instead of being pulled in every direction. Another aspect of focus is alignment with values. If you don't actively decide where to direct your attention, you might spend your life focused on things that don't reflect who you want to be. By reminding yourself daily that you control your focus, you stay mindful of aligning your attention with your goals and values. That alignment ensures that your days are not just filled with activity, but with meaningful activity, the kind that moves you closer to the life you actually want. Of course, controlling your focus doesn't mean you'll never get distracted or discouraged. It means that even when your mind wanders, you bring it back with intention. It's about resilience in thought. Just like training a muscle, every time you redirect your focus, you strengthen your mental discipline. Over time, that discipline allows you to navigate life with greater clarity, less stress, and more purpose. There's also peace in knowing that you don't have to focus on everything happening around you. The world is full of chaos, noise, and negativity that can consume you if you let it. But by choosing where to place your focus, you shield yourself from being overwhelmed. You may not control every event, but you always control what you give your attention to. That choice determines whether you live in constant stress or in steady balance. Ultimately, saying, "I control my focus," is about self-mastery. It's about refusing to let your thoughts run on autopilot and instead steering them toward what gives you strength. The quality of your focus determines the quality of your life. By taking ownership of where your attention goes, you take ownership of how your life unfolds. I am responsible for my growth. These words carry both empowerment and accountability. They remind you that while other people may support you, encourage you, or even inspire you, no one else can do the work of developing your mind, your habits, and your character. Growth is not something handed to you. It's something you cultivate daily with your choices. The moment you accept responsibility for your growth, you step out of the mindset of waiting for change and into the mindset of creating it. It's tempting to blame circumstances, environments, or even the people in your life for where you are. And while those factors influence you, they do not control your potential. Telling yourself that you are responsible for your growth breaks the cycle of excuses. It shifts your focus from what you cannot control to what you can control: your effort, your mindset, and your actions. This shift in perspective is powerful because it means progress is always within your reach, regardless of where you start. When you accept responsibility for growth, you begin to see every experience as a teacher. Failures stop being reasons to give up and instead become opportunities to learn. Setbacks stop being signs of weakness and instead become reminders of resilience. Growth doesn't happen when everything goes right. It happens when you use the wrong turns as fuel for improvement. By owning your growth, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of life and instead as an active participant in your own evolution. Personal growth requires consistency, and consistency only comes when you take responsibility. You can't expect to read one book, attend one seminar, or practice one skill and suddenly transform. Growth is built through daily decisions, choosing to practice patience when frustrated, choosing to learn instead of complain, choosing to reflect instead of ignore mistakes. Each small act of responsibility compounds into long-term development. The responsibility may feel heavy, but it's also freeing because it puts progress back in your hands. Responsibility also means refusing to outsource your happiness or your future to other people. If you're waiting for someone else to push you, to rescue you, or to make you change, you will wait forever. Growth is deeply personal. Others can walk alongside you, but they cannot walk for you. Accepting responsibility means recognizing that the life you build will be a direct reflection of the effort you're willing to put into yourself. It means you stop waiting for permission to grow and start taking initiative. Another element of responsibility is honesty. To grow, you must be willing to face uncomfortable truths about yourself, your weaknesses, your bad habits, the patterns that hold you back. It's easier to ignore these things or blame others for them, but responsibility demands self-awareness. When you acknowledge the areas where you need to improve, you give yourself the opportunity to change them. Denial keeps you stagnant. Honesty allows you to grow. Sometimes, responsibility for growth means making sacrifices. It might mean spending less time on entertainment and more time learning. It might mean distancing yourself from people who keep you stuck in old habits. It might mean choosing short-term discomfort for long-term gain. These sacrifices can be challenging, but when you remember that you are responsible for your growth, you also remember that no sacrifice is wasted if it leads to a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Taking responsibility for growth also changes the way you see time. You realize that every day is an opportunity to become better, and wasting that opportunity is a choice. This doesn't mean you never rest or that you must constantly push yourself without pause. It means you use your time intentionally, knowing that each day spent learning, practicing, or reflecting adds to your personal evolution. Growth is not about speed, it's about direction, and responsibility keeps you moving in the right one. By taking ownership of your growth, you also strengthen your resilience. Life will always present challenges outside of your control: illness, setbacks, unfairness. But when you've built the habit of responsibility, you face those challenges with a stronger foundation. You've already trained yourself to adapt, to learn, and to persevere. That preparation doesn't remove the pain of challenges, but it equips you with the mindset to keep going. Responsibility builds strength long before you need it. The truth is that growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens by choice. Every time you say, "I am responsible for my growth," you remind yourself that you have the power to direct your life. You cannot wait for ideal conditions, perfect timing, or external approval. Growth belongs to the one who takes ownership of it, and that ownership begins the moment you decide to accept responsibility. I deserve rest and care. These words may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been conditioned to equate worth with productivity. Many people carry the belief that slowing down is a sign of weakness, laziness, or failure. But the truth is, rest is not a luxury or an indulgence. It's a necessity for your mind, body, and spirit. When you affirm that you deserve rest and care, you remind yourself that being human means having limits, and honoring those limits is an act of strength, not weakness. Rest is not only about sleep, though that is essential. It's also about giving your mind a break from constant stimulation, giving your emotions space to process, and giving your body a chance to recover. In a culture that glorifies business, it's easy to overlook the quiet power of pausing. Yet without rest, even your best efforts lose their impact. Fatigue blurs focus, drains creativity, and weakens resilience. Telling yourself you deserve rest and care is how you protect the quality of your presence, not just the quantity of your output. When you deny yourself rest, you send the message to your own mind that you only matter when you are producing. Over time, this mindset leads to burnout, resentment, and even health problems. But when you affirm that you deserve care, you shift the narrative. You acknowledge that your value does not disappear when you pause. It stays constant whether you are working, resting, or simply existing. This is a radical act of self-compassion, one that many people never give themselves permission to practice. Care also extends beyond physical rest. It includes nourishing yourself emotionally and mentally. It's taking the time to check in with how you're feeling instead of ignoring signs of stress or sadness. It's allowing yourself to seek comfort, to enjoy moments of joy, to connect with people who make you feel safe. Self-care is not selfish. It's a recognition that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot serve others well if you are constantly depleted. By caring for yourself, you strengthen your ability to show up in every other area of your life. There's a misconception that rest must always be earned, as if you only deserve it after you've accomplished enough. But that belief keeps you chasing an endless finish line because there will always be more to do. You don't earn rest by exhausting yourself. You deserve it simply because you are human. Your body needs recovery, your mind needs quiet, and your spirit needs renewal. Denying these needs doesn't make you stronger, it makes you fragile. Embracing them makes you sustainable. Affirming, I deserve rest and care, also means creating boundaries. Rest will not simply appear in your life. You must protect it. That might mean saying no to extra responsibilities when your plate is already full, disconnecting from screens at night, or carving out moments of solitude in your day. These boundaries can feel uncomfortable if you're used to overextending yourself, but they are necessary shields. Without them, your energy becomes scattered across everyone else's demands, leaving nothing for yourself. It's important to recognize that rest looks different for everyone. For some, it may be sleep. For others, it may be stillness, creative expression, or quiet time in nature. What matters is not fitting into a rigid definition, but tuning into what actually restores you. By listening to your own needs, you learn to practice care in ways that are authentic and effective for you. This personalization reinforces the truth that you deserve rest, not in the way others define it, but in the way that truly nourishes you. Another dimension of this affirmation is emotional permission. Many people struggle with guilt when they try to rest, feeling like they should be doing more. But rest taken with guilt is not real rest. It's just stillness filled with anxiety. By affirming that you deserve it, you release the guilt and allow yourself to experience rest fully. You give your nervous system the chance to settle, your thoughts the space to clear, and your heart the opportunity to soften. This kind of rest heals you on a deeper level than any surface distraction ever could. Care also means noticing the small ways you neglect yourself. Skipping meals, ignoring signs of exhaustion, or pushing past emotional pain may feel like acts of strength, but over time they erode your well-being. Choosing care is about paying attention to these small details and addressing them before they become crises. It's a daily practice of saying, my needs matter. My well-being matters. It may sound simple, but consistently practicing this changes the way you experience life. When you tell yourself, I deserve rest and care, you are rejecting the belief that your worth is tied only to what you can produce. You are affirming that your humanity is enough reason to pause, to breathe, to restore. This truth allows you to live with balance instead of burnout, to give from fullness instead of emptiness, and to honor yourself as much as you honor the people and responsibilities around you.